I am a rising fifth year complex litigation attorney at a top 10 law firm. Wow. I do not want to litigate anymore. Do you think I could transition to litigation strategy and counseling at another big firm? Okay, so this is a good question. So this is very common. Litigation at large firm. A lot of people on this call are probably litigators. And one of the things that people don't like about litigation many times is just stress, we call it the confrontational nature of it, and it's the negativity, all this stuff. So all this stuff can be very stressful for people trying to work in law firms being litigators. So I don't know why you've reached that conclusion, but after 5 years of realizing that, that's probably the right decision for you. If you just don't like it, you could certainly try another practice setting. You could try different types of work, but you said, do I want to transition to litigation counseling and strategy that at another big firm? So there are certain types of people in law firms that do litigation strategy. Most often they're very smart people. Sometimes they went to Yale Law School and that sort of thing and are able to offer these various insights. I'm not saying that's who you are, what you want to do. I don't know. You have to have some sort of you can't go to a law firm and just trying to hire you and say, "Hey, I've done litigation for 5 years, but I really want to be a strategist." And they say, "What kind of strategy have you done?" Or you can't say, "I'd rather do litigation counseling because so at another big firm." So what you're saying, I think, is that you want to continue to make a lot of money, and at the same time, you want to do a different type of work where you're just thinking about big issues and things. So I think you have a couple different options, and this is what I would recommend if I was a litigator. I think you have a couple different options. You could, and I'll just give you some options that for a federal judge, et cetera. You could go into, I'm just giving you different options that I would recommend. You could go in house, you do appellate work, become a judge. I'm just trying to think what else. Look for the government, some options. Okay, so this is just so this particular discussion right now, I'm sure this applies to a lot of people because probably 50% at least of the people on this webinar are litigators. So you say, what do I do if I'm unhappy being a litigator? What do I do? Should I continue with this? Or is this not something, this isn't making me happy? No, I don't like this. And I want to continue making a lot of money doing something. Okay, so these are some of the options that I recommend to litigators that are interested in doing things, and I'll walk through these for you a little bit. I think this is a very good question, and these are the type of questions, by the way, when you ask something like this, if you have a question, you don't think it's a good question, the answer to this question can help a tremendous amount of people because people typically do not understand what they can do when they have these types of issues. Doing a different type of litigation, let's talk about litigation. We were just talking about different practice areas and so forth. So let's talk about litigation. So if you are a litigator and you want to do you can do ERISA litigation, you can do ADA compliance litigation, you can do appellate, you can do class actions, banking and finance, construction, e-discovery. Look at all these international arbitration, mass torts, public interest, real estate, personal injury, defense, and other stuff. You can do all these different types of litigation. And the amount of litigation, it just keeps going. Look, and then you have municipal litigation and all these types of litigation, all these types of practice areas. There is so much freaking litigation you can do. So you can do a different type of litigation. Something may appeal to you more. You can get into, you have to read about you have to look up and look at BCG or other places. You have to look up and decide if there's something type of litigation that may appeal to you. Now, could you do different types of litigation in a different firm? Working in a different firm, would a different firm make you happy? Sometimes your role might be doing one thing and it could be something different. It could be one thing in another firm. And maybe it could be litigation and counseling and strategy, but maybe you have to see what are my opportunities? What appeals to me? What would make me happy? Is there another type of litigation? Some people look at something and they'll say, wow, I've always thought it'd be cool to do this type of litigation. This is what I want to do. And that could change everything. You work in a different firm that's a different size or has different demands or just different types of environments might make you happy. Sometimes when people are unhappy, it's just like the impersonal and the different nature and you're not working with people you like in a law firm. You could start your own firm. I know tons of attorneys that have been in big firms and started personal injury attorney firms and started trust and estates firms and started immigration firms and started different types of firms. You could start your own firm and many times make more money. Sometimes people that are interested in writing and that sort of thing and like that will go to work for federal judges and be career clerk. That's a good job. And you actually make pretty good money in a small town. A lot of people that go to Yale and stuff, the last thing in the freaking world someone from the Yale, et cetera, wants to do is work in a law firm. They don't like it. I think it's a waste of time. So they do things like they go and teach in law schools and that makes them happy. So they get to strategize and read and do all sorts of things. And so you can do that. And it's not as difficult as it sounds to get a job teaching law school. So you can do that. And that's something that may appeal to you. And you may think, I would really love to teach that, or I'd love to teach litigation strategy or something. So you can do that. That's a very powerful thing to do. You can go in house. There are jobs, most of the jobs in house for litigators are strategy. You work with the outside counsel to figure things out. You do this, you do that. You could certainly go in house. You could do appellate work. Sometimes people that don't like going to court enjoy being and the stress, enjoy spending long stretches of time. You could do that. So that's another thing. You could become a judge. And so people become judges and often like that. You could start out as a municipal judge and move your way up, or you could network and figure out how to become a judge. That's a job that people love. Or you could work for the government. You could work for state, federal, all these different types of governments. Litigators actually have a ton of options. And so if you want to continue litigating and that's what you want to, or you want to keep using that, there's just all these freaking options you have. And I'm not even bringing them up. Oh, you can become an arbitrator. There's just all these things that litigators do that can really help you and that might help that you can become successful.